guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my bridal makeup tutorial. So I got married last June, so like a year and a half ago roughly, and I booked a makeup artist to do my makeup. Big mistake because I had my trial run and I hated the way that it looked. It was very heavy makeup. I looked a little bit like a clown. I had like a black strip across here. Didn't match my face. It just wasn't blended very well. And it was very, very thick, heavy makeup. Like there was that much foundation on my face. And as soon as she left the house, I washed it straight off. And I told her I would like to cancel. So I ended up doing my own makeup, which I ended up loving, and I was much more happy doing my own makeup because obviously I know what kind of makeup I like. I know how I like to do my makeup. I know how I like my eyes to look, my face, yada yada. So yeah, I ended up doing it myself. I also did my mother's makeup on my wedding day. When I tell a lot of people that I did my own makeup, people say, "Are you crazy?" But when the photographer got to our house on our wedding day, he said he's never been to a more relaxed house. So obviously we were all really relaxed. I did my own makeup, I did a bit of my friend's makeup, and I did all of my mum's makeup as well. And I loved how my makeup turned out, and I put a lot of effort into it, and it wasn't too heavy. It was just the right amount. I still looked like me, you know, but I looked, you know, a little bit better than I do now. And I really like the way it turned out, and yeah, I thought I would share with you guys my bridal makeup today because I know that a lot of people do their own makeup for their wedding. You know, not everybody gets a makeup artist. A lot of people decide to do their own makeup for their wedding, which is fine. All this could come in handy as a bridesmaid makeup tutorial if you're doing your own makeup as a bridesmaid, or even as a wedding guest. So this can kind of be one of those tutorials for you. So if you're looking for something like that, then I hope this is helpful. It's super easy. It's mainly, apart from two things, it's drugstore, I think. Yes, apart from two products, it's all drugstore stuff, and it's quite simple. I'm gonna make it as easy as I can for you guys. Now, the things that I wanted to make sure of before I actually decided what I was gonna wear for my makeup on my wedding day was that, number one, there was no flashback, and I managed that. There was no flashback in the photos. And the other thing that I wanted was that it to last all day without looking smudgy or cakey or anything. So I've picked products that are those kind of things. So if you just follow this tutorial, you should have no problems. So yeah, let's go. Now this is how my makeup actually looked on the wedding day. So here's a picture, and then we'll compare the end of this makeup tutorial to the actual day, because obviously it's probably going to be a little bit different, but hopefully it should be similar because I'm using the exact same products. Right, I'm going to start with my Barry M Flawless Hydro Fix Primer Water. You want to be nice and hydrated, obviously. You don't want to be dry and cakey. So then I'm going to go over the top of that with some day cream. Now this is the Nivea Daily Essentials Sensitive Day Cream for sensitive skin. And I'm going to apply that with my Real Techniques stippling brush. Now for primer, this is essential. If you want your makeup to last all day, you need to use a good primer. Now I use this one. This is what everything I've used now today is what I've used on my wedding day. And this is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer Matte. So it hasn't got flashback because it's for photos, and it's matte, which is essential for me because I have oily skin. So I'm going to put a generous amount of this all over my face using the same brush. Okay, now before it's completely dried in, that's when I want to start applying my foundation. So the foundation that I used was the Too Faced Born This Way medium to full coverage foundation in the shade Porcelain. Now obviously if you watch my channel, you know that this foundation is way too dark for me. Now, believe it or not, I actually have a bit of a tan at the moment. It's still way too dark. So on the wedding day, I didn't have any tan and I had to use a lot of this. This is the NYX Pro Foundation Mixer White. So I'm going to mix these together on the back of my hand till I get the desired colour for my face. And yeah, let's just do that first. This is a nice full coverage foundation. It's lovely. I really like it. I'm just going to mix with the end of a brush. I always end up doing way too much, but I'd rather have too much than too little because otherwise it'll be the wrong colour. So I'm going to be using this Morphe flat foundation brush, and that's what I'm going to apply it with. A nice generous layer of it everywhere. And that looks like a pretty good colour match. And I am going to go in with a few layers of this. I obviously want thick, full coverage. Okay, now I've got a damp Morphe Flawless Beauty Sponge. I'm just going to go over with that a second and then see how we're looking. I might have to do another coverage. I think I will, just to get extra full coverageness. Now time to go in with another layer. Okay, now before I do concealer, I actually did some cream contouring on my wedding day. So I used the NYX Wonder Stick, the contour side. And I'm just going to do a little bit of cream contouring. Not too much because I'm going to contour with powders later. Then I'm going to blend that in with this Morphe M436. It's like a stippling brush type thing. Now for concealer, I'm going to be using two. So the first one I'm going to use is the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser Concealer in the shade Fair. This is a very full coverage concealer, perfect for wedding days. I'm going to blend this in with my Real Techniques contour brush. And then I am going to do it just to highlight a little bit. I did use the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. I mixed these two shades. These are Light Neutral 15 and Fair 08. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so now time for powder. Now, it was really hard to try and find a drugstore powder that didn't have any flashback, so I couldn't find one. So I ended up getting the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. This was £30, but it was so worth it because I had no flashback. This was amazing. So if you are looking for like a powder investment, then I would get this. I actually got mine from John Lewis. I don't know where else you can get it from, but that's just where I got mine from. So I'm going to use my Morphe G35 to set around my eye area first of all. Obviously, make sure you fully set your face because, especially if you've got oily skin like me, because you don't want any oils breaking through. Then with a bigger brush, the Morphe E2, I am going to set the rest of my face. I'm doing like quite a lot of powder and it's getting quite messy everywhere, but you really do need it for something like this. So that's another thing with the makeup artist. She put hardly any powder on, and I remember telling her I said to her, I've got extremely oily skin. You need to put a lot of powder on me, otherwise, you know, I'm gonna look really greasy by the end of the day. Yeah, this foundation, she said, yeah, this foundation, it's not gonna make you greasy. You don't need much powder. So she didn't put much on, and even before she'd left, I was greasy. So yeah, that's another thing, like, you know your own face, you know your own skin, don't you? And you know what products will work, you know what you're doing. I'm not saying the makeup artist doesn't know what they're doing, but you know yourself better. And even if they think, you know, oh, this foundation has never gone greasy on anybody before, I knew it would have gone greasy on me. But so this is why I did my own makeup, and I was much happier as a result. Look at this face now, completely matte, just how I like it, because at some point in the night it's going to start to get shiny, right? So you need to make sure you start off matte. So yeah, prevent as much shininess as you can. So moving on to the e.l.f. contour kit. So I'm going to contour now. With my Morphe C35 brush, I'm going to use the contour shade. Bronzer now, I'm going to use my Real Techniques blush brush with the bronzing shade. Another thing I would mention is do your makeup a bit heavier than normal, because on camera it doesn't show up as much. So I did mine just a little bit heavier, especially things like bronzer and blush. They don't show up as much and they do tend to fade. So just do it a little bit heavier than you normally would, just to make sure it shows up on camera and it lasts longer. Then for blush, I used my Colourpop Super Shock Cheek Blush in the shade Between the Sheets. And the brush I used is the Real Techniques Multitask brush. Let's put a nice generous amount of this on. Now for highlight, I'm using the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek Highlighter in the shade Lunch Money. And I'm going to use my Real Techniques setting brush. Right, so I only actually used 2 eyeshadow palettes for this, and they were both £4 each, so bargain a lot. So yes, you don't need, I researched for months leading up to the wedding, eyeshadows, high-end eyeshadows, £4 each, did the job. Why not, innit? You know? You don't have to spend loads of money when you got something like this. Now the trouble is, these eyeshadow palettes are quite old now. So I don't know if they're going to give the best result today, but on the day, they were good. Okay, first one is the Makeup Revolution Redemption Palette Iconic 1. And I'm going to take this little brown right here on a Morphe R37 throughout the crease. Then I'm going to go in with this darker brown here, and I'm going to focus that more on the outer corners and bring through the crease as well. Now moving on to the second palette, this is the Iconic 3. It's more of a pinky purpley type, and on the M441 Morphe brush I'm going to take this like lilac-y shade here. It's like a pinky purpley shade. I'm going to put that through the crease as well. I am now going to blend with my Sigma E40 blending brush. But there's nothing on this brush, I'm just going to blend everything together with it. Okay, now on my Morphe M412 brush, I am going to take this darker purple here, and I'm going to pop that on the outer corners and blend it through. Okay, now for the lower lash line, I'm going to use those same colours now on my Morphe E18 on my lower lash line. Okay, now for the sparkle. So when I did this, I'm going to go in with this colour here, right? From the Iconic one. And when I did it, I actually sprayed some setting spray on my hand, on my finger, just to try and get the best out of the colour. So let's see how it goes, because it is looking a bit old now. So let's see how well this actually comes out. Okay, now in all honesty guys, it's not as sparkly as it was on the actual day. Like I said, I think this is a bit old, this palette, but it'll have to do. Okay, now eyebrows. So I used the Maybelline Total Temptation Brow Definer in the shade Deep Brown. Obviously, I don't do much to my eyebrows. Like, I never do anything to my eyebrows on my channel other than a clear gel. But for my wedding day, I went all out and filled in the spots in my eyebrows. So I didn't do much, I literally just did this. Then for gel, I used my Colourpop Brow Boss gel in clear. And for eyeliner, I used my NYX Slide On eyeliner in Brown Perfection. Now I'm just going to set my face with the NYX setting spray, matte setting spray. Now I'm going to curl my lashes and apply my mascara. So I'm going to use the Kiko Extra Sculpt Volume Mascara. On the actual day I used a normal one, but I only have a waterproof one now, so I'm just going to use the waterproof one. Same thing, so I'm going to do that. Also, on my actual wedding day, I actually had a lash lift before the day, so my lashes were amazingly lifted and long. So they're not going to be as good now because I don't have a lash lift now. Okay, now finally for lipstick. So first of all, I'm going to apply this Colourpop Lip Primer. Then I'm going to use the Colourpop Oh Snap Lippy Pencil. And then the lipstick that I used is this Barry M lipstick in the shade Truffle Shuffle. Okay, so this is how I did my makeup on my wedding day. This is exactly every single step that I did, every single product that I used. But yeah, I hope you liked this video. I hope this was simple enough to follow, and I hope it was helpful if you're looking for some ideas for wedding makeup. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up down below. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already, so you can see all my other videos. And thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!